Can I say one thing about Alex Jones? So Alex Jones is one of those people you're supposed to be very shocked by. Here's the one fact about Alex Jones that I can't get over. Alex Jones predicted 9/11. And he did, think about this for a second. And he did so on tape. Now, I worked in television my whole life. When you're on TV, there's a timestamp. We don't need to guess. I'm on TV for decades saying super dumb things, which live forever on YouTube. Alex Jones, in the summer of 2001, said, you need to call the White House right now because planes are going to hit the World Trade Center and they're going to blame it on Osama bin Laden. He said that. I've seen the tape. You can look it up. So, no, check this out. So I lived in DC at the time. Trust me, I had a daily news show on another channel. Not one person was saying anything like that. So Alex Jones says that, it's on tape, we can prove he said that. It happens. Why didn't the US government call Alex Jones and say, how could you have known? Clearly you're a prophet of some kind. We need you in this global war on terror because clearly you can see things that nobody else can see. That's incredible. Have you even met anybody who's predicted something like that? No, you haven't. Like, I've never met anyone. I met everybody. I've never met anybody who did anything like that. But instead of celebrating Alex Jones for making the most unbelievable call in the history of the news business, they said about the FBI sets about trying to destroy him. And so begins this incredible saga of lies about Alex Jones, which you probably all heard about. I'm not going to relitigate it, but that was the FBI that did that. And they tried to bankrupt Alex Jones. They tried to put Alex Jones in prison. Why would you put the guy who called that in prison? This guy is clearly on the side of the United States. He's trying to help our country. So, that fact, if there's only one thing you know about Alex, everything I said is 100% true, by the way. I'm not guessing, but this is fact. If there's one thing to know about Alex Jones, it's that. And on the basis of that, I will always believe, and I will always say in public, that Alex Jones is the most extraordinary person I've ever met. And so I am proud to have him. Not having him here because it's like naughty, ooh, Alex Jones. It's like, no. I'm proud to know Alex Jones. I'm proud to know the person trying to warn the country about the worst terror attack in our history and was persecuted for it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones. That the only thing they're good at is seizing the moral high ground, and they try to make you ashamed of the best things about your life, like being married or having normal kids or not castrating your children or whatever, or knowing Alex Jones. You're like, oh, how can you know Alex Jones? And I'm sick of it. And I'm just gonna say that Alex Jones is my friend. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. I'm not ashamed, and you shouldn't be either. They should be ashamed. He called 9/11 and they tried to put him in jail for it. So anyway, thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. And I gotta say, this is a beautiful state full of beautiful people. And when we get President Trump elected, all of us together are gonna lift the curse off of this country, and we're gonna send the globalists to prison. All these great people, and whether they're black, white, old, young, to see the electricity in people's eyes that are populous and that are Americans and that love God and that love children and love freedom and hate tyranny. I can feel the strength in this auditorium and capacity. And like I told the globalists a long time ago, I don't know how long this is going to end, but if they want to fight, they better
oh, you're so radical.
Well, and Tucker, Alex, the one thing I always give Alex props for that no one ever gives him credit for, Alex Jones has stood against war for 30 years every single day of his career.
But I'm for the war, peacefully with information against the globalists. The real war is here with the globalists and Soros and Obama and the New World Order and BlackRock. 1776! You tell me. The answer to 1984 is 1776! 1776! Right here, right here! 1776! 1776!
You know, Alex, the real, we're only about an hour away from where they did the real 1776.
That's right, exactly.
Bless you for saying that. So what do you think, what is gonna happen in the next 40 days, do you think?
Well, we all know that history repeats and rhymes, and so just like the kickoff of this country on July 4th, 1776 started an hour away from here, and that's why coming right back, history repeats, the key battleground state again, the second battle to save the Republic, the first battle was launched to form the Republic, is happening right here in Pennsylvania, and I interviewed you today, an amazing interview, quick interview, you were gracious to give it, in between your busy schedule, and you said, look, I feel confidence in my gut, intellectually, every level. Even if they steal this, it doesn't matter, because the process of awakening is here, and nothing is going to turn that around. So we have the initiative, we've turned the tide, and whether it takes 6 months or 20 years, we're going to evict the globalists out of this country, and we're going to restore the Republic. Victory is ours.
So do you feel that the hope that in the end there's victory? Do you really feel that?
Barring the globalists starting a nuclear war, but then they'll still get beaten in that process. Those of us survive will dig them out of their holes. Their bunkers will be their tombs. But other than them trying to start World War III, which we're very close to, other than end of the world stuff, our trajectory's victory. All over the world, populists are winning. All over the world, the incumbents are getting thrown out. All over the world, I mean, you go to a comment on Instagram where they even try to censor. And Bill Gates does an interview, there'll be 20 million views, and I'll read for an hour and can't find one person that isn't exposing him. Klaus Schwab had to step down as the head of the WF. The globalists are hated. They just had their big Davos meeting earlier this year about getting trust back. And I watched the Clinton Foundation with Chelsea up there at her gala going, everyone hates us now more than ever. What do we do? We've got to censor them more, and Hillary crawls out from under a rock. We'll start arresting Americans for their speech. That'll teach them. I'll get you and your little dog too. We have forced them out in the open. They're weak. The mask is off, and now the sleeping giant is awakened.
I mean, that's true, isn't it? That no one you ever meet in real life outside the Atlantic magazine and the Aspen Institute and that Freaky Walls character, no actual person is for any of this.
And nobody's for tampons in boys' bathrooms. But they are, because we talked about this interview today, and we're sure a historian and a journalist, you know about it, but most people don't know about it. Of course this is all deliberate. The CIA in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s funded Ms. Magazine, Gloria Steinem, Planned Parenthood, the whole thing is it's run by the globalists against our country since the 47 National Security Act. And they said in there, we're going to have ugly architecture, ugly art, ugly music, we're going to degrade the family, we're going to undermine the symbol of men being strong in the home. This is all declassified, and they sold that image to demoralize us and break our will. And we were asleep back then and didn't know the government had been hijacked. They thought Americans were intimidated and bullied, and we were asleep. Now they try to debilitate us, now they try to demoralize us, now they try to break our will, and we're conscious of it, and we're like, that's not breaking our will, that's waking us up!
I gotta say that the main change that I've noticed, and maybe it's just me, but I'm from a very, very secular background, like most secular background. I'm literally from Southern California. Woo! One person. What are you doing in Reading? It's good to have you.
California is the great red state.
It was the best. But the point is, I didn't grow up around religious people at all. I didn't go to the church my grandmother went to at all. I've worked in the media my whole life in a big city up until 5 years ago. And in the last year, I know more people in my secular world who were mentioning God in conversation. And I don't know if you're having this experience. It's very striking to me. Do you notice this?
When we followed God, we had nothing but prosperity and success. When we got rid of God, everything fell apart. I mean, people think Texas is a blue place. It's got the crime, the filth, the Satanism, the degeneracy, the pedophiles. Pennsylvania, gorgeous state, fell apart in 10 years. California, one of the most beautiful places in the world, total deep red. Ronald Reagan, total crap hole now. It's spiritual blight. And people are recognizing that because now they understand we are getting sucked down a vortex into literal hell. We got to reach back up to God, and God will take us out of this.
Is it? You've been saying that for decades. I've always wondered, I've asked you this like 20 times in private over dinner. I'm proud to say we have dinner. But I ask this, you never give me a straight answer, but since there are thousands of people watching, maybe you will now. What's it like to be vindicated on everything?
Well, I mean, it's scary because, I realize that with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility. And a lot of times in the media, I'll joke around satire-wise, and I'll see it at the cover of the New York Times. And clearly, people aren't seeing the video. I'm saying it's a joke. Like, Jones wants to kill his neighbors. No, I said, there's a nuclear war, we all collapse. And my kids are starving, I'm not a short with food. I will eat the liberal neighbors, not my conservatives. It's more of a joke. But so when people take what I say so serious, I joke a lot less. I used to joke a lot, but now the show is not. It used to be like half comedy because I like to have fun. So I take it really serious now because I realize they twist everything. So it's a lot of responsibility, but I also wish I was making predictions with the proviso that if you call the White House and tell them don't fly planes to the World Trade Center and then bring in the police state and then invade the Muslim countries to bring them in here, not even go after radical Islam. If you do I was thinking if you call the White House and tell them don't do it, they may not do it. But of course, I have a big enough audience, people didn't believe me, so we couldn't stop them. So I make these predictions about probable futures, so I can see all the evidence pointing towards it, so that we can stop it. But now the good news with Elon and you and so many others that are fully awake and reaching a lot more than what I ever did, folks are really waking up, and their knowledge curve is going parabolic right now. So we're in the driver's seat, but that makes the globalists very dangerous, and the empire is going to strike back.
How?
Well, they always love to pre-program it. So Klaus Schwab is a cyber attack will make COVID look like a minor inconvenience. Not in a Russian accent, except a German. Of course, you will eat the bugs and you will love it. But these are real quotes. We don't need too many people in the future to polish the robots. These are real quotes. You all know Harari. Oh, the future's not human. You're just obsolete. We're going to be the gods. I don't believe in God now, he said, but I'll be the God in the clouds. Ray Kurzweil at Google, he says, I don't believe in God yet. I'm going to become a God. But to do that, all you folks who just want to be good, decent people and live a good life and experience God's great creation and love God, you need to be gotten out of the way for the rise of their new uber-mentioned Superman. So we're right back to all of that, and that's why you have the official plan of depopulation by the UN down to 500 million. That's an 80+% reduction. That's official. That was on the Georgia Guidestones in Georgia until somebody blew it up, but nobody got hurt. So the agenda is your garbage. You're just a consumer. You're like weevils in the pantry eating their flour or something, and you just have to be gotten rid of because you don't fit into their beautiful, magic, wonderful plan. I was watching the Davos group. They have meetings all the time at their World Government Summit about a year ago when Elon came on via video link, and he said, listen, people don't want your world government. It centralizes things. It's tyranny. People are rejecting you. We need diversity of countries and sovereignty and peoples, like firewalls in a building or bulkheads in a ship. But at some of the other meetings, they had these globals, and they're going, we're just doing something so beautiful, what we're bringing them. I don't know why they're opposing us and don't trust us. Well, because you just want to depopulate us because you're selfish, demonic pigs who love the raw power of destroying people, because America, for all its faults, was the best house in a bad neighborhood. And the whole world for 200 plus years, but really the last 100, aspired to come here, aspired to have our freedom. And the globalists can't have this country exist and have their horrible global technocracy, slave plantation, AI system in charge if there's a place that's still free and open compared to everywhere else. So we've got to be brought down and used to bring tyranny to the world while we're being destroyed and while we're paying for it. So the whole world turns against us and we collapse. And so the idea of America is discredited so that other people around the world don't ever try to go the path of our republic, which is diametrically opposed to their globalist, satanic death cult. And that's why they're attacking America. It's the idea, the spirit that is incompatible with their global slave state.
You know, I would make fun of you, except every word is true. The thing that I can't get past is to put the destruction of other human beings as a goal that's not a human desire. Like, animals don't commit genocide, actually. That's not natural. That's not natural at all. Like, there might be people in your way and you're a bad person and you kill them, but the idea of desiring to kill huge numbers of people, like, that can only be supernatural. It feels like.
And that's what the Bible tells us, is there's an outside force putting powerful people in positions to carry this out, to keep humanity from reaching its potential destiny. And God gave us free will, and so there's the tester there. And so that is the mission and the existence of Satan, whether you believe that's a real thing, because I know it is, or an archetype. Regardless, it's there. And if you read the robber barons 120 years ago and the social Darwinism that came out of it, they wrote books and said, when we do evil, bad things and kill people in mass, we are the apex predator. We're doing them a favor to make them stronger. So it's really just eugenics. But at the end of the day, you study the globalists, they're not just trying to kill the weak and the infirm and the low IQ, which is you're not supposed to do as a human made in the image of God. You're supposed to build up the weak. Christ said, suffer the little children, what you do to the least of me, you've done to me. Better for you to have a millstone tied around and be thrown in the ocean. But the globalists put fluoride in the water for everybody. They hate the smartest and the best and the freest because it competes with them. And so they're trying to stop their competition. Those people that love God and have free will, because we're much stronger and more powerful than them, but we don't seek power. And every moment they're thinking, if we wake up and take back control of our destiny, it's over for them. So that's why they hit us with the 5G and the GMO and all the garbage and the glyphosate in their own documents, is to stun us and poison us so that they can dominate us, not because they're strong, but because they're weak.
That's totally right. Well, that's why they've set up the fake economy in the United States. This town was built on manufacturing, men making things with their hands. And that's been replaced by lending money and interest and selling the same piece of ground over and over and over. Real estate. And they hate strength. They hate strong men above all, obviously. I was talking to someone the other day who's not conservative who said to me off camera, you know, the chemicals in our water, for example, are changing the sex of frogs. And I didn't want to be mean. But I did say, are you telling me they're turning the frogs gay? And this person didn't get the reference at all and goes, yeah, that's basically right. Everything you've said about the chemical poisoning of the human body is now just kind of accepted. Like, is it weird to see science catch up to you?
Well, I mean, look, what happened, and I knew what they were doing, this is like 15 years ago. I did like an hour-long analysis from South African University and a University of Japan, a University of, I think, Rice in Houston, and the University of Berkeley in California, that just a little bit of atrazine would bend the gender of almost all the frogs, sterilize a lot of them, and turn a large portion of them where they would try to have sex with males and confuse them so much in their development as embryos floating around in the creek or pond. And so I did all that science, and then I said, listen, this isn't about hating gay people or something. This is about chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. I went on to say, and then their populations collapsed and they died. And the frogs are a microcosm of us. Well, then within 2 weeks, every late night comedy show, every one of them came out and did a monologue and attacked me. And then it turned out later that they were being directed by major foundations and the CIA. They even later bragged, oh yeah, Chuck E. Schumer, we worked with a body with him in a foundation. They actually came to them with a script that said attack Alex Jones, because they went, ignore the hour of serious stuff he talked about, make it a joke. So their joke about frogs made it blow up even bigger in their face. But you have to understand, they know people don't believe the news anymore, at least for 20 years. So it's the nightly comedy shows that are totally written by the globalists, and they give the comedy writers what they want them to do. And so whenever you see them, it's like, oh, look, the shots are good. We're all getting a take 10. It all works wonderful. Arrest Donald Trump. That's literally the CIA, the Carnegie Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, assaulting you when you're at home drinking a beer trying to watch the comedy. And so that's, people think I predicted. God, he was right. The frogs are all turning gay, and then they're dying. No, it's been known forever, and that's Bertrand Russell. He wrote back in the 60s, said we ought to have a world government that just drops hydrogen bombs on most of the populations, because they're too big a population will have wars. We have to have a controlled nuclear war, and that'll fix it, and create all this. And he also went on and write a bunch of books. Pull his quotes up. Oh, we'll put chemicals in the water to lower fertility and bend the gender of men, and we'll put chemicals in the vaccines to sterilize people and give them cancer. And so, listen, they used to have all these top globalists were very honest about it in the 70s. They used to have, like Paul Ehrlich, you can pull this up on Twitter or anywhere, X. Paul Ehrlich goes on a TV show in '79, one of the big Hollywood shows. He goes, listen, we're working with the foundations, and we're going to have every father figure be lazy and stupid and dumb, and that'll break up the family, and then the kids that do live will control by the state, but everybody else will abort the kids because there's too many people, and we'll all be dead by 1987 at current rates. It's Malthusian. None of it was true. Like Al Gore was saying, by 2017, all the ice caps would melt. They're bigger than ever. It's all lies. They know it is. But back then, they were very honest about he was all over, 60 Minutes, you name it. Oh, yeah. We're going to destroy the family because the family creates people, and too many people's bad. They're public, so almost everything I say is from these dirtbag scumbags. You go read the World Economic Forum. They say no humans by 2045, only cyborgs. The future's not human. Listen, I remember reading in scientific publications when I was first getting on there 30 years ago, because almost no shows like mine then, so I was on a bunch of radio stations. Got on a local station, figured out how to syndicate, called a syndicator, said, hey, can I get on? They put me on a bunch of stations. And boom, I'm reading, and then people are sending me stuff. So I had like MIT Quarterly coming to me saying, we've made the first humanized mice that are part mice, part human. We've made the first goats that are part spider that create body armor. We don't show the public these facilities, so it would freak them out too much. That's 30 years ago. Now you hear about the humanized mice that are part human, or salmon that are part grasshopper that grow twice as fast and kill all the real normal salmon. And just folks, Tucker talks about aliens and absolutely stuff going on. The globalists are making aliens by mixing humans and other animals and insects and plants, and then they put them, they gestate them and use cow uteruses to grow them. And this is going on everywhere. So there's like a breakaway whole civilization that's separate from us that the globalists have life extension technologies and cures to cancer and Parkinson's. But instead of giving us all the cures, they're keeping that for themselves, and they're just getting ready to wipe all us out, so we don't even have access to that, whether you think of it as moral or not. But they even had, people didn't believe it when I talked about it when I was reading the documents, because we weren't on TV then. I'm reading this on air, people think that they weren't all getting MIT Quarterly. Then MIT, about 7 years ago, looked this up. Humanoid hybrid chimeras are gestating at facilities across the United States. And it goes on to say, part pig, part human, part cow, part human, so that they won't be rejected by the cows that are growing them. And then harvest the organs, they harvest the stem cells, and they've got facilities now with thousands of cows per facility with humanoids growing in them. And this is in the literature, and they don't like me because I go, here's the literature, but they won't let you on the basis. And let me tell you, with the spider goats 25 years ago, I call up one of the places in New York where they've got goats that are part spider, okay? And their milk makes body armor. And I get the head guy, a private contractor at the Pentagon, he's happy. Like, he comes on, 2 days later he calls back and he goes, the Pentagon's really mad. they didn't even tell me it was classified. They're going to kill me if you don't take down that interview. Okay? So you're hearing all this, look up spider goats, 30-year-old stuff, okay? All of this, so as good as I tell you stuff is, it's also bad because there's a breakaway civilization that's really in like the year 2045, according to their estimates. They've already got way more advanced AI, everything else, but they can't get full control of the human population yet, because in an hour, if we wanted to tear up all the equipment and the AI systems and shut it down, we could. It's not that it's bad in of itself, it's how it's being deployed against us. That's why they've got to get rid of the farms and the ranches and the gardens and people knowing how to build things and do things. They've got to make us obsolete first, and then they're going to release the real bioweapons that kill the majority of people. That's why COVID was just a drill. They admit it was to get us locked down. So when they release the real bioweapon, you just stay at home and die like you're supposed to. But we're not going to do it. And if they release the big bioweapon, we know who to go after, baby. We'll get you in your bunker and Zuckerberg. He'll bring you to justice, legally and lawfully through the court system.
Well, you completely freaked me out. I gotta say.
Well, hey, people always told me the crazy stuff I said before the day I met. Everything I just told you is not even hidden. You're gonna be like, what, human clones for 30 years, spliced with animals? And I mean, they're splicing humans with fish, with lizards, everything else. It's all public.
Well, so that's why it freaks me out, because I know you're telling the truth.
But I'm still stuck on the spider. We've been drinking spider milk.
No, they've got goats that are only like.
Al Gore used to talk about that. He would say we have the orb spiders.
Yeah, they've got, look up spider goats. They've got goats declassified for 30 years in Tennessee, New York, all over, for classified body armor.
No, it's real.
That the milk creates the spider web filaments, and it's like literally like Spider-Man, and then you can have like a 1/4-inch body armor of it, and high caliber rounds just bounce off.
So you gotta wonder why people are doing this, but the truth is American taxpayers are paying for it, just like they paid for the development of the COVID virus, actually, in the Wuhan lab, and AI, and all of this stuff is being paid for by us. And doesn't seem to be any effort at all. We're sort of sitting there watching the truck approach us at a high speed about to get flattened. Why aren't our lawmakers saying, I'm sorry, we're defunding NIH, we're not doing this, or we're defunding DARPA, or whatever? Why doesn't anyone try to stop it?
Well, you know this better than you. You grew up in DC, been around it. They get some little corrupt local politician, they promote him to mayor, they promote him to state rep, they promote him to Congress, they promote him to the Senate, they promote him to the presidency, and all they want is a few gold bars and hookers and a private jet. They're just reading what they're told to off a teleprompter. They're total puppets, there's no real statesmen. So the statesmen like Massey and Paul and others, they try to shut down, they try to shoot, they try to kill. Then you get a good old American like Trump who loves the human system, loves his kids, loves his family, loves his grandkids, loves his golf courses. And he's like, we're gonna get rid of this? I don't want to kill all the people, I like them. And so it's gonna be the pro-human future, team humanity that I talked about with Elon Musk. He asked us, we call it team humanity. He said, yes, on air. It's team humanity versus team dehumanization towards team death. It's team humanity versus team annihilation, team mad scientists. And at the top of the food chain of the New World Order are these old, degenerate, inbred, crazy families with King Charles right at the head of it, total eugenicists, just like his dad, wanted to come back as a virus to kill 80% of the world population. Prince Philip, you got those horrible, disgusting people and all the big bags below them, and then the mad scientists that are there offering life extension and all this to these elites are the real people controlling it. They're the technocrats that are bringing this system in, and we're like an old school or an old church. They just like demolish it, wipe it out. These people, they want too much. They want their freedoms. Just kill them because they believe they have to have a world government to stop nuclear war, but then they proliferate the nuclear weapons themselves. Oh, they've got to have a world government to stop a bio attack, then they release the bio attack. And so their excuse is, well, this technology is too dangerous. We've got to have a smaller, more manageable world population so we don't all kill each other. But then they're the ones that actually like to kill people. They're the ones that are actually the bad people. They're the ones that have to be removed from power and have the keys of control of society taken away from them. But first, it's kind of like Thanksgiving, where the parents are over at the big table and the kids are over here picking their nose at the little table. They see us as like little kids we got to go over to the adult table and read what they're writing and saying because they're so arrogant. I've read hundreds of books and thousands of white papers where they openly say, humans are a failed species. We're going to get rid of them. The future's not human. You've all known Harari and others. And they're literally talking about exterminating us. And if we don't stand up to them, then in a way we actually deserve it. But our children don't deserve it. So you need to research how evil your enemy is. Because to defeat your enemy, you got to know who your enemy is. And your enemy is the globalist, transhumanist, New World Order.
So I wonder, so what you're saying, I mean, you've just risen right above American politics, even global politics, and you're addressing the deep forces that control things. I wonder, Jack, since you do cover American politics, are there any politicians who are seeing what's going on right now in terms that big?
There is one guy, but I wouldn't call him a politician. His name's Donald Trump. I don't know that there's anyone who looks at it at that level because there's most politicians, they have their timelines of when do I get reelected? I gotta raise more money. I'm gonna go get reelected again. Constantly come to this fund. Hey, I'm sure you get invited all the time. Hey, Tucker, come to my fundraiser. Hey, come and help me raise some money. I gotta raise money. I'm running. And they're not thinking about what's happening. And then I see Donald Trump get up there with his children, with his grandchildren that he brings up to his rallies. After he's taken shots at his rallies, still brings his grandchildren up there and say, you want me? I'm right here. Come take it. Come after me. I'm not moving. And that's why like for me, and folks, it's got to be us. It's got to be the people in this room, 10xing your vote, 10xing your ballots, getting active, and look at me, look what I did. I'm just a kid from Norristown, but I said, fine, if I'm gonna go back home, I'm gonna bring Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones with me.
Thank you, by the way.
Thank you.
I like the way that Alex described Trump, because I think it's true. The key to Trump is not just the ideas, he's not an ideologue, really. Trump likes people on an animal level. He just likes people. You see it when he's at McDonald's. You see it at every rally. He just has a gut level affection for people that is so different from when I watch Nancy Pelosi or that weird creepy little guy who's the Republican speaker right now. Like they seem like when they talk, people are the problem. But Trump feels like, well, I just like people. I kind of like, put my arm around them. I like the way they smell. I like people.
Trump comes from a hospitality family.
Yes.
And so his dad, by the time he was 6 years old, would leave him in the summer all day at a building site. And I'm going to tell a story. I've harped on this a lot because it's a microcosm. It's like a skeleton key or a Rosetta Stone. If you understand this, like looking through a keyhole, you see the larger universe. On Mother's Day this year, the evil New York Senator, Chucky Schumer, put out a post on X, a post on Twitter, and you can pull it up, and he said, I'm basically quoting it exactly because I've quoted it so much. He says, I want to wish everybody a great Mother's Day. My daughter and her wife had me over to their house to grill. He called it barbecue. But he said, this is wonderful. For multiple generations, we've always been in high-rises and have never had a backyard or cooked meat. And I was thinking, oh, that's human. That's nice. Maybe he'll become a human. And then I looked at the grill, and it was fresh patties with a piece of cheese on it, and he's trying to serve a raw hamburger. Okay, so the point is, so many of these ultra-rich people and elitists and other poor kids that grow up in the city, who are impoverished as well, they literally grow up in a tiny little room with a television and crime all around them and all this crap going on and sirens, and they've never been out in the woods, they've never been fishing, they've never been out to the desert, they've never traveled the world, they've never ever had a real job, they've never anything. And if you look at the politicians, and Democrats particularly, they are not connected to reality. So to them, everything human is scary. They want sanitized, shrunken. I mean, if you look at Democrat Party politicians, they look like a demonic spider sucked their life force out. So these are...
Wait, I'm sorry, I want you to stop. When you look at a Democratic politician, they look like a demonic spider sucked their life force out. I just want to acknowledge that. Great description.
And you've been around the person, so have I. I mean, the vibes, 20 feet from Hillary, you repel up there like, I mean, horrifying and just and slithering around, and I mean, it's like, and then God bless her soul, Sheila Jackson Lee or whatever just died. Before she did, she gets up and she goes, I saw that eclipse. It almost burned up the moon. We know the sun's the same size as the moon, and the moon is hollow and glows. A lot of them aren't even evil, but they're dumber than hell. And the globalists are counting on that. But look, knowledge is infectious. How the world works is infectious. They don't want people to get excited about knowledge. And once you do, it's addicting. And people ask me all the time, what do we tell young people to do? The opposite of what Hollywood tells you. Anything Democrats tell you, anything politicians say that are leftist, anything Hollywood says, anything BlackRock funds, it's simple. It's like somebody handing you cyanide or fentanyl. Don't take it, don't get near it, and just love your family, be strong. Don't feel bad because you don't have much money. Don't feel bad because you're struggling to do. Don't feel bad. No, you've got a soul and you love God, you love your country, you love your family, and you are a trillion times richer than people like Zuckerberg and the rest of them. So be confident. Be confident. And know you were born in this time, and you and under covert globalist attack, you're not a victim, you're not a loser. You are the sleeping giant that now has awoken, and our enemies are afraid, and they should be afraid.
What's interesting, real quick, is that people say, Alex, oh, that's just crazy. That could never be real. We could never live in a country like that. That would never happen. And then all of a sudden, Oprah Winfrey is doing these infomercials with Kamala Harris. Hold on. Right after the FBI seized all of the P. Diddy tapes that Oprah is on from the parties that he was holding. And so I used to think that, we gotta protect Trump, we gotta keep him safe, Now I realize there's somebody else we gotta keep safe. We've gotta keep Diddy safe, because that's the next guy they're gonna go for. This guy could tell if you wanna know how your government actually works, that's the guy we gotta talk to. Tucker, I don't know, maybe you have an in. Could you get Diddy on the tour, maybe? No, I'm serious. This is how they run the government, though.
This is definitely another Epstein operation.
This is how, there's an Epstein operation, and there's a Diddy. He's the Black Epstein, okay? He's just the Black Epstein. He just is.
I mean,
all right?
I gotta be honest.
Behind Epstein are behind Diddy.
The question is, because people would say, how is it that so many of our world leaders have gone to an island such as that, right? They say, how could this have happened? How could it be such an open secret? And then when it happens, people come out, and Bill Gates again, by the way, and suddenly people say, oh, we all knew there was stuff about Jeff. What do you mean you all knew about this? What do you mean you knew about this kind of stuff? And you realize we're looking at it backwards. In order to become a world leader, you have to go to the islands. In order to become a celebrity, you have to go to the Diddy party. This is the way their system works. It's a rite of initiation.
Absolutely, that's what I'm explaining. It's like different mafias, you have to kill somebody so they have dirt on you. They know they're going to be videotaped doing illegal things so they can get in the gang. It is the initiation.
There once was a guy who actually infiltrated a certain initiation place called the Bohemian Grove.
Richard Nixon, you look up the tape, called the most goddamn faggoty thing you've ever seen. And I'm not taking it, the point is, old-fashioned time of the Republicans, that was the way to compromise them. Like, well, hey, you want to join this particular Republican club, you got to do this. And Ronald Reagan and Nixon refused, that's well known. But that's because that's how you get Republicans. Hey, we'll tell your constituents you're sucking, you know what? But remember the Democrats and some Republicans like Hastert, it's like, hey, did you know that girl at that party? She was 16. Next, it's go in there with that 12-year-old girl or you're not in the club. And the next, it's like, that 8-year-old, go in there and strangle her, we're going to kill you. And let me tell you, they're not just raping kids. At Epstein Island and stuff, and I talked about it 15 years ago, I was first talking about it. They're killing kids, ladies and gentlemen. So they're only talking about 15-year-old girls that they kill them.
So can I just ask you to assess my last question to you, Alex Jones, is I'm not really sure how Kamala Harris became the Democratic nominee when in like one day from being someone everybody made fun of to being the most heroic figure in human history. I'm still kind of bewildered by it, but I would be interested in your take on Kamala Harris. Who is Kamala Harris and how'd she get here?
That's a great question. Well, Kamala Harris got the same amount of votes in the primaries as Ronald McDonald, which is 0. Kamala Harris is a soulless, truly empty flesh bag who was admittedly a sex operative, just like Oprah Winfrey admitted that she was an underage sex slave. I mean, look it up, it's all true.
And you can find Oprah giving the girls to Weinstein.
Yeah, but
see the pictures.
And Oprah's admitted, and she's a victim of it. A lot of the victims of it become the victimizers. She said that she was an underage prostitute, I think it was in Chicago, but to answer the question, it's clear that Kamala Harris was a political sex operative. Willie Brown's talked about it, all of it. And then she was so soulless that we put innocent people in prison, know they were innocent on death row, do home invasions, looking for legal guns, saying she'd do it. Then when she was the Attorney General, she would put pro-lifers that exposed the illegal killing of babies right at 9 months when they were already born and the selling of their organs, including still beating baby hearts. She would put the journalists in jail for many years. Those are famous cases. So the system has seen her, has passed her around. They know she's super stupid, and they can bring her in like Biden and then blame everything that bad happens on her. And so she is the greatest example of a mindless puppet that they want to put in to further demoralize us to think that that's America, to make America a further joke around the world. So that's who Kamala Harris is, a clear and present danger and a meat puppet.
Is Pennsylvania going to vote for Kamala Harris?
Alex, is Pennsylvania going to vote for Kamala Harris?
Look, if we had a free and fair election, it'd be like Reagan in '86. Trump would get 49 states. But because of the mass fraud in states, once Democrats take control of your voting system, since the 90s, it's very hard to turn it back. I know Pennsylvania's trying to tighten up some things, and Texas has taken millions of dead people and illegals off the voting rolls, and so is Nevada's taking hundreds of thousands off. So look, the evidence, it's a long story, but Trump won in a landslide in 2016, barely won. People thought he was invincible and he's going to win no problem in 2000, so he barely won, so they were able to steal it. He's going to have a bigger landslide in 42 days than he did in 2016. That's why they killed him twice now, and probably more times we're being told we don't know about.
If he was losing, the assassination attempts would be unnecessary.
Absolutely.
That's why the assassination attempts are happening. That's why there's 5 kill teams.
So what, and I'll let you take us out on this on a note of hope, what you said, you gave advice for what children should be doing. What should the people in this room be doing? What should be their attitude, not just for the next 42 days, but for the next year? And what can people do?
Okay, well, I never claim to be some saint or, tell people how to live their lives. I'm definitely not perfect. But I'll tell you what I've been doing since I was at least 18 years old. And I became a Christian before that, but it was like I'm a Christian, but I really wasn't truly born again. You got to get on your knees in the morning or in the middle of the night or whenever you wake up. You got to get on your knees. You got to and tell God, I can't do this. I need you to come into me and take control and lead God and direct me and tell me what to do. And you gotta change your values to where you don't care what the world says or what the system says. You care to do what the conscience that God gave you, that guardian angel that is right there looking over your shoulder, tells you to do, and you've got to not be a coward, and you've got to be strong. And the minute you step across that point, you don't even have courage anymore. you're on a mission and you're not possessed by the Holy Spirit, but you let it in and it's now driving and in control, and now you got God behind you, and nobody can stand against us if God's with us.
Well, that is a I think that's true. And with that, Alex Jones, Jeff Posobiec, I'm proud to be friends with both of you.
Thank you, Tucker.
Got a little here for you guys.